Hey, good morning or good afternoon, whatever time this podcast is finding you at. This is my wake up podcast. You are not tired, you're just uninspired, and I am here to help you. I am the creator and founder of Life Minded and Free. I am focused on helping women who are unfulfilled live above mediocrity and create a life of their wildest dreams, because you can have financial and time freedom. You can have a good marriage. You can have a good relationship with your kids. You can have a good faith, a good health. And I'm here to show you how not only I did it, but how I was able to teach thousands of other women to do the same thing. So welcome to the show. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I just feel like this is going to be like an important thing that we talk about, because it really is, like, yesterday was such a monumental day when people realized for their businesses, like, wait a second, my whole audience could go away right now. And I have literally nobody. It doesn't matter what you're selling, how great it is, how good you are at selling it. None of that matters. It matters who is on your list and how do you have their list. And the best advice my coach ever gave to me, and it was almost one of the very first calls we had together. She said, if you're in a network marketing company, you better figure out a way to get your own email list as soon as possible, because if you don't, you have nothing. If something happens in your business, you have nothing. You don't own anything that you got through that company. People need to be subscribing to you for a different reason. So your customers and people that are out there finding you, and you want people not just subscribing to your business, but they're subscribing to you. And so as you build an email list where then you can show them your content of what you're putting out there, you put out a new podcast, you send an email, you write a book, you send out an email. The whole goal is to build this email list. That's what we're doing. We're offering something free to build a list. And I'm glad I did that. And I did focus on that. I said, you're absolutely right. I don't want followers from my current company. I want to have my own brand where people are subscribing to me, where I can build my own customer database, where I'm not under the guidelines or rules of someone else who's placed them there. We say that we're entrepreneurs and we're business owners when we're in network marketing. We're not. You're not. Like, end of story, you're not. There's people who tell you what you can and cannot do. There's people who say how to do it, how you cannot do it. If you truly work for yourself and you are someone who is a business owner, there is nobody who puts walls and borders around you besides laws and legal things like that are put there for protection and for people suing and, things like that. Obviously, breaking the law, those things are super important to be able to have there. But that's what you need to do as an entrepreneur, is offer something for free so that people can say, yes, I want to subscribe to you, and they get you on their email list. And then they slowly drip information on you, and whatever their goal is by doing that is met because they were in that system. So in the branding course, we talk about how to build your brand and how to get it there. And so I'm starting to see now that people are catching up to that. We're starting to see that after you build a brand and you're like, this is who I am, this is who I'm talking to, these are their pain points, this is how I can help them, this is where I can add value. Now it's like, okay, let's take it a step further. And now how can you start the process? So you have the structure, you laid all the bricks, all the foundation, you have it done. That takes a long time. Building something takes a long time. Building a house, right now we're trying to build our marriage ministry, and that's taking a long time. Getting the right people in place, getting the right processes, the right systems. Starting everything takes some time, but it's the most crucial point because it's what makes it the most secure. And so you take time, you build your foundation. It might take you 6 months to go through my branding course to really be like, okay, now I got it. It might take you some time. You might have to be that person who watches the video 19 times. And that's okay if that's you and you're trying to build the foundation. Once you build it though, what's part two? And that's what we're really starting to see is part two is you need to be offering something for free to funnel people into an email list to then you can send things out. And yesterday when Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp all crashed, there was no way to communicate with people. I had a couple people that I was talking to back and forth about placing an order and just a couple like business things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even have their cell phone number. What if I never got them back in contact again? What if the platform never came back up? It can happen. And people's businesses just like that can end. I was thinking of I was thinking like, thank God it's not the end of the month and I'm a full-time network marketer. Can you imagine like what kind of chaos that would cause if it was the last day of the month or the last 2 days of the month and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like the most crucial time. This is where I make all my money. I hate social media, but I also love social media for the freedom it gives and what it does and the platform it gives you to be able to talk to people who understand you, to be able to give value to the people who need to hear your voice. Not everybody needs to hear your voice. Not everybody likes me. Not everybody likes you. That's okay. We're not talking to everybody. We're talking to our specific person. So when there's an outage or something happens, what do you do when your person, all of a sudden you lost contact to them? And you're like, oh my gosh, I need to stay in contact with them. You need email addresses, you need names, and you need phone numbers attached to them so that you can still stay in contact with your people. So if we learned anything at all yesterday was, what are you going to do if a platform just disappears? Or if your profile just disappears? Because that's been happening. I've had people that post things kind of controversial or post things that Facebook says this is wrong information and their account is just gone. Sorry, you're locked out of your account forever. And then you're in like the wormhole of trying to get it back and you have no one to talk to and no idea. It doesn't matter. They could just wipe you out. So if you're, even if, and I went to type something this morning on Facebook and the Holy Spirit was like, don't do that. Like, don't vote that. I was my favorite doctor ever, Dr. Joseph Mercola. He's a holistic wellness doctor, very amazing, super deep into research. And when my mom had cancer and then started curing herself naturally, she started following him and researching everything through him. And so we always are like, well, what does Dr. Mercola say about that? And I always like base my information off of his thoughts and his research too, because I really respect him. He is going through hell right now online. If you just type in who is Dr. Joseph Mercola, the first like 10 things that pop up are like the doctor spreading the most misinformation about COVID. They're saying like all of his stuff because he talks about it on there and he says, hey, this is 100% curable. You can fix this. You can get away from the symptoms. You can make sure you don't get it. And he's like spitting out all these facts. And so the FDA and everyone silenced him. He actually has to take down all of his social media platforms, his website, years and years and years and years of information and research that this man has on his website. He has, when you go to his website, it's like mercola.com, I think. At the top, it literally says free speech ends soon. And there's a countdown and he has to delete his entire website in the next 40 hours. And he's been counting down. It literally says free speech ends. He went through this huge lawsuit. They had to take, the man has millions of followers and subscribers and they're banning him and they're turning him off of everything. He's not allowed to have anything anymore. Like, we think that we have this control and we think that we can say whatever we want. We can't. And I went to post on Facebook and I typed, I know I'll probably get banned from Facebook for posting this, but I don't care because what they're doing in the media, people need to wake up. Look what they're doing to Dr. Mercola. And then I just knew, I was like, no, there's no way. It's going to be algorithm's going to flag it. There's way too many things in here. Like, it's not even worth it to post it because if that did happen to me and my Facebook went down of what I built, that kind of sucks, but I know how I built it. I know who I am, who I value, who I'm talking to. I could rebuild something like that. And you could too, once you have your brand defined and once you know what you're offering and what you're doing. If they blow your house down, build another one. But if you built your house on luck and random people coming in the middle of the night and building your house, you probably can't rebuild it. So what I like is when things are slow and steady, and you're building the foundation slow and steady, it actually is good because then your foundation will never be blown down. because you didn't just build it on luck, or it didn't just build on, oh, look, a video went viral. I have no idea what I did. And oh my gosh, now I don't know who I am and what I'm offering and who I'm talking to. So we tend to get annoyed that it's taking so long. And then we start thinking in our heads, like, what is wrong with me? Why isn't this working? It's working for everyone else. Because of course, when it's not working for us, we notice like anything working in anyone else, like the smallest glimpse of hope, the smallest victory someone else has, we like make it seem like it's so big in our heads because we're jealous and we want it. And I'm totally victim of this all the time, where I'm like, wow, everything good happens to them. And then I'm like, okay, really? Like, is that really true? Or am I just throwing a fit? It's like, no, I'm usually just throwing a fit and I'm just mad about something. But if you build it slow and steady, you have patience. It's going to take time, but you have to have the belief and the faith to know that at one point in time, it's going to click. You're building it, building it, building it. You might have people blow it down. You might have entire platforms shut down. You might have hurdles and roadblocks and hiccups, and it's coming. It's for sure coming. They're coming. But if you keep going and you keep trying and you keep your mindset in the right place, the number one secret to success, you keep your mindset in the right place, you give yourself grace, and you keep building towards what you're doing. Eventually, one day you will wake up and you will be like, wow, this just all like feels so good. It's all clicking. You don't feel overwhelmed. Your brain doesn't feel all foggy. You literally wake up and just have this massive clarity of, oh, I know exactly what I'm doing. This makes so much sense, but it'll be so cloudy and so mucky along the way. And I am living proof of this. This has happened to me 10, 20, 30 times in my business, where I sit here and I literally cry because I'm so overwhelmed and I don't understand what I'm doing. And it's like right now, building this click funnel is going to be the death of me. And I get so frustrated and I'm so annoyed. I'm like, forget it. I just want a refund. I'm not even doing this anymore. This is so stupid. And I just get like, I act like a child and I get so mad and I get so upset. And it's like, just relax. One day you are going to wake up and say, oh my gosh, it wasn't even that hard. Now I built one. I can build another one. Now I did that. I can help someone else do this. And for me and my brand, and for a lot of you in your brand, the further along you continue to go through the journey, you're on this trail of, okay, I'm helping people heal, or I'm helping people make better decisions, or I am helping people become healthy or happy or fulfilled, or validate them or humor them and inspire them. Whatever you're doing for people, whatever your brand is, whoever you're hurt for, the further ahead you go down your path of healing, of inspiration, of stepping out of fear, doing new things, the more content that you have to go and help the person who's behind you. The further you walk down the path, you're going to be able to say, oh, hey, duck, there's a tree here. Oh, step over this. There's a log that fell. Oh, come this way. We're still going. Oh, this is what happens next around this corner. Let me tell you what happens here, because you are continuing to go. Right when I first started teaching someone how to build a brand, I was teaching them what I was learning myself. And so I needed a brand. I started learning that, and I started teaching people the step right before that I was on. I'm on step 2. I'm like, hey, let me tell you guys what I just did yesterday. And I learned this step 1 to a brand. And then when I got to step 3, I was like, oh, hey, let me tell you what I learned in step 2. I actually hired a coach and this is what she taught me. And then I go to step 4 and now I can teach people step 3. And so if I stopped going and I just said, forget it, I'm just going to stay where I'm at, you run out of content, you run out of people to help, because you're only going to get someone to so far. So I use my target audience and my people that I'm trying to help, I use that as motivation to keep me learning and to keep me going further. Because now that I'm at this point of building a funnel and building an email list and sending out those podcasts and email nurtures and my course, now I can teach other people how to do all of that. Everyone, I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I did. Let me show you how I did it. And it's frustrating because you're growing. Remember, the formula for growth is time, it's tension over time. So when you're feeling frustrated, when you feel scared and you're in fear because you don't know what's about to happen, or you don't know if it's going to work, or you don't know what people are going to say or how you're going to feel, or you are just worried and you're in that negative emotion, that is tension. So right now, Alicia, in her last week of work before she leaves her job to pursue something she feels more in alignment with, it feels a little bad this week because it's tension, because you're forcing yourself to learn lessons and do things that don't feel good. You're growing right now. You're going through this, you're going to grow and you're going to learn lessons from this, and you're going to become a bigger, better version of yourself because of what you're going through right now. But while you're going through it, it sucks. It's tension. It doesn't feel good. And so just recognizing all the time that any kind of tension, like platforms shutting down and them experiencing the biggest outage that they have yet, that is tension. That's like, oh my gosh, I can't work my business. I can't make my posts. I can't talk about my thing. I can't, all of these things that you want to do and you feel this tension, or I'm trying to figure out my click funnel and I'm so stressed out and annoyed because I don't know what to do, or you're trying to go through my branding course and you don't know what experiences that you've gone through that you want to help someone else go through. You don't know the person you're talking to and you're so frustrated because you just can't figure it out. That is tension and it's growing you. It's actually good. When you stop feeling that tension, that's when you stop growing. And then you just stay there. And if you're not growing, you're dying. So what happens when you're not growing? What starts to happen is you just get very complacent. And then what once set your soul on fire and inspired you and got you excited and you're believing in big things and you have this great vision for your life, what happens when you stop growing, you become stagnant, and then you start overthinking all of these things and you really start talking yourself out of them. Like you're like, did I really even want to do that? I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. I thought that I wanted to do that, but now I don't. Like I did want to write a book, but writing a book would be so hard and I don't even have time to do the things on my list. And I don't know, I might write my book next year. I need to take that off my plate right now. Or I was going to quit my job and start working for myself and build my own business, but I don't know. Christmas is coming up and we already are so strapped for cash. And do I really want to make a change right now? I should just stay here. I have really good benefits and I have a 401k that my company matches. And I think I'm just going to stay here. Because you just start to settle into mediocrity and being okay with it when you once weren't. And I talked before about people that are okay with living a mediocre life, where you're like, I don't need anything crazy. I don't need to be speaking on stage and impacting thousands of people and building something and creating something. Like I'm okay with just a simple life, and that is fine. And that's not who I'm talking to right now. I'm talking to someone who hates living a mediocre life. They feel like they have to do something more. And it's not that you're like, oh, you're like a better person or you're going to be more successful or you're just a different type of person. The book Driven, I've referenced before, some of us have read it, is amazing. And it talks about that there's actually genetic changes, like DNA, visible changes that you can see in someone who has this driven trait versus someone who doesn't. And it's just how your brain works. It's just how it is. And that's okay. And you need to learn how you work best and stop comparing yourself to how other people work. And you need to figure out what you're going to do instead of looking at what other people are going to do. Fun fact about me, I don't spend a whole lot of time on Instagram because when I do, it always makes me feel terrible. Always. I never feel good when I'm on Instagram ever. Even if I am looking at something happy and something exciting, like, I do like a lot of searches on Instagram. So instead of like going on Google and searching, I'll search Instagram. So I'll type like USA vacations, or I'll type in like hashtag Mexico. If I'm like looking for a place to vacation to, or if I'm looking for clothing, sometimes I look at see like what other people have posted. If I'm buying clothes from like Fashion Nova, I'll hashtag like Fashion Nova and look at their stuff. And I always do that. And I look and I always start comparing myself I always feel like I'm not enough. I always feel like I'm not good enough and I need to be better and I need to do more. And oh, I wish I looked like that. I wish I had that. And, oh, I wish I had that life. And I want this. And her stuff is so good. And my stuff sucks. I should, oh, look how good her stuff looks. It's all consistent. She's wearing like the same shirt in every picture. I want to do that. I think I'm going to do that. Or her stuff is just so funny and she always looks so good. She's like, 1 minute you're like loving that you are so natural and you don't really wear makeup and you can get on there and you can film some stuff and you can do stuff. And then you see someone who's like all done up and looks super cute. And you're like, okay, all right, no, I need to like be all done up and look cute too. And then you see someone who like looks super natural and you're like, oh no, but maybe I could do that. Like, we don't even know what we want because we see all these other people and it's so quick and so easy for us to just jump around to, I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. Before, we didn't even know what people were doing because it was social media. We didn't have social media. We had no idea that Alicia was quitting her job and she was starting her own business, or Alicia was working from home and has this awesome job that she found online. We didn't know that. We didn't know what people were doing on a daily basis and all of the decisions and all of the opportunities. I talked before about how you just did what your family did. Like your family, they were all blacksmiths. Well, then that's what you do. Like, that's how it is. That's how last names were even came about back then. Like, you were what your family did and you didn't really go too far away from that. But now, because it's 2021 and there's a million different things that you can do and a million different things you can do from home, now we have so many options and it's overwhelming. What do we want to build next? What do you want to offer? Which way do you want to take your business? And so you continue to just have all of these options and it just runs in our head. So I don't really spend a whole lot of time on social media, except when I'm posting and interacting with some people's stuff, because I just try to not do it when I'm in that frame of mind. And if I start to notice that I'm getting in that frame of mind, I shut it down and I get off of it. So it's crazy when you realize the thoughts that actually go through people's heads. And especially if you don't see them in that light, like so many people, the biggest thing that throws them off is I have this shirt on. It says antisocial and there's a butterfly on it. And it literally is, I saw this shirt and was like, oh, that's totally me. And so many people would be like, what? You antisocial? I don't think so. And I've said that to people before, people at my church and people, John's friends and family members. And I was just talking at the family birthday party we were at on Sunday to John's family. And was just talking about how I really don't come out of my shell to a lot of people. And I was texting April a couple of weeks ago, we were at a soccer tournament. And I'm like, I'm at a soccer tournament with all of these soccer parents. And I just literally sit here by myself and I don't talk to anybody. And she's like, that blows my mind. Like, I cannot believe that you don't talk to people when you're there. I'm like, my anxiety is so bad. And I just sit there and just like spin in my head all of these things. Like, once I know it's safe to open up, like if somebody mentions something to me where I'm like, oh, they're like my type of person, I just don't really open up because I don't want to be a fake version of myself, but I also don't really want to offend people. And I know that my beliefs aren't very mainstream. I don't believe in like a lot of the things that just like the whole world and society tells us we should do. And so I'm kind of a black sheep. So I really just don't say a whole lot. And I'm just I'm just a little anxious about it. And I am really quiet and online and listening to these podcasts. And, for everyone who listens to the recordings and you've never been on live, I would love it if you could send me a message on Facebook and tell me about your experience with listening to whether it's a YouTube video or a podcast, because some of you started messaging me and it literally makes my whole day. And I screenshot them and I save them in an album in my phone titled Affirmations. And so anytime I'm feeling like I'm in a valley or I'm feeling like under attack by the enemy who's telling me I'm not good enough and nothing's happening, I always go back and look at those things. And that's a huge tip that I recommend for any person trying to do something hard is keep this affirmation album in your phone, fill it with lots of good quotes, scriptures, messages from people, things that you say to yourself, screenshot it and put it in there so that you can look at that when you're feeling in a dull place. But every person has these thoughts. Every person has these struggles. Every person has the roadblocks, the things that are keeping them from where they need to go. I don't care if you're Tony Robbins or you're Oprah Winfrey. You have these hurdles that you have to cross. And the more you want, the bigger you want to be, the scarier the goal is, the more you're going to have to do this. And it's just tension. And so I realized the other day, I'm like, I haven't really had a lot of tension in my life lately. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like, it is nice to be like, wow, things have been pretty good lately. Like I'm just coasting. I figured out what I need to figure out as my next step. I know where I'm going. I know my next steps. I have a lot of clarity. I feel very calm. I really feel very free. And mentally, I think I'm in the best place I've ever been in my entire life ever. And the reason why I'm there though, is because I went through the tension of that. I went through the fear, and I went from figuring out what was causing me fear, what was causing me anxiety, what was causing me pain. And I did the scary thing and I walked away from that. And I decided, what else am I going to do to change this? So I only have that because of what I worked through. And that's why going through and working through things are so good, because you work through it and then you get to the next side of this and you're like, okay, now I feel so much better. It worked. But then again, like I said, you become complacent and you're not growing and you're kind of just there. And it's like, I don't feel this, oh my gosh, yes, like look at what's happening. It's because I kind of stopped growing. And I'm like, okay, oh, thank God I can catch my breath. I'm just going to do this stuff. The only way that you can grow is by going through things. So either things are happening to you or you're going out and searching for them. And if you want to grow faster, you have to go out and search for more things to grow through. So what is holding you back? What are things you're struggling with right now? Is it you're struggling with your own self-worth, or you're self-doubting, or you're so critical on yourself, or you're a perfectionist and you can't do anything because it has to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I'm not even doing it. And so it's holding you back from doing so many things. That's why I had to put the post-it on my computer that says done beats perfect. Done beats perfect. And I have to say it over and over all the time. It's done. I don't care if it's perfect. I don't even care if it sucks. It's done. Moving on. It's done. Done beats perfect. Move on. And so you have to work through those things. What is holding you back? Do you have a fear of rejection? That is a huge one that I see so many people. It's actually one of the first fears you have to get over when you decide to work for yourself and put yourself out there, or you're in a sales position, you're in network marketing, you're whatever you're selling. If you're in sales, you have to get over the fear, that fear, because you are going to get rejected. And I recently had my first Instagram reel, get a lot of people on it. And I don't know if I would say it went viral. I guess don't know the definition of viral. I guess everyone's definition is different, but this was like the biggest goal of mine, is like, I need to post something that finally does it. And it finally works and it goes out there and it's a lot of views and people are seeing it. Well, what comes with that is a whole lot of people hating on you because the more people you're in front of, the more people who don't like what you're saying, right? Like I don't open up to people because I'm worried they're going to hate on me. I'm worried I'm going to make a comment and they're not going to agree with me. And we're not going to have that much in common. And so when I show up on social media, here I am praying that God helps one of my videos go viral. Please, 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 please go viral. Come on. What do I have to do? I'm literally praying blessings over my reels as I create them and make this one go out there and touch all the lives of people. And then when it comes, I'm not even ready for the comments, because when the comments come and people start cutting me down and saying that's not true, and I can't believe you would say that, maybe you should stop judging people, you know, all of these things that come, it's like it knocks me out for a few hours. And it makes me like, oh, I don't know if I should have said that. And it puts me out for, maybe I don't want to post another reel again about the same subject, or I don't want to say the same thing because you had haters. Well, maybe God was trying to help you learn the lesson of not caring what people think about you first, so that when you make the reel, it doesn't cut you out for a few days. Instead, he's going to have you learn that lesson first, so that when you post it, none of that stuff matters. And then you have the courage to post again, and the courage to post again, and the courage to post again. So we have to realize that too, is that there's things that we're not learning and we're not figuring out. And that's why we're not moving ahead, is because we're not ready for those things. Like, you might be praying to become rich. You might be begging God, bring me money, open up the faucets and just overflow my house with money. And I always pray that money is just attracted to me and magnetized to me. And I'm going to do great things when I have all this money here. And we're going to spend so much time with family and help so many ministries. And come on, God, bring me the money. And then what I realized is that I was so bad at taking care of my finances that money did not want to hang around with me. And it wasn't that the prayer wasn't working. It was that I was literally blocking the blessing, because I was praying for all this money, but I'm not even tithing what I'm making, a small amount. So why would God expect me to tithe when I'm making a big amount? I'm not even saving when I'm making a small amount. So why would I save when I'm making a big amount? I'm blowing all my money when I'm making a small amount. I'm going to blow all my money when I'm making a big amount. If you can't manage $1,000, you're not going to be able to manage $1 million. And what I realized is that I was actually blocking a lot of that abundance coming to me because of things I was doing. And I was actually the one standing in the way. And that's when I realized that the majority of us are standing in our own way. We're blocking the doorway that we need to walk through, because part of you is like, I'm going through this door. Let's do it. I know where I am. I know who I am. And I know what I'm going to accomplish because God says so. And then the alter ego of us, the fear-based, worry-wart self, is in the doorway like, no, wait. Don't go through the door. Like, you know what those people are going to say about you? Do you know what? And it's this voice that holds you back, and it's literally yourself. And you're so mad because you want it so bad, but then you won't let yourself go through the door, but you want it so bad and you're so miserable. And this just is the answer, but you're not doing it because fear is setting in. And this is what you do. And you do a dance with yourself and you go back and forth. And so fear is the thing that holds us back. That's the only thing that holds us back, is fear. Whatever the fear is, it is fear holding you back. And it could be something holding you back too. The only thing that is, if it's not fear, the only thing I've ever found it to be is that it's not meant to happen. That in your soul, you know that that's not the next move. You know that that's not supposed to be it. Because sometimes when I coach some of you, it'll be like, well, I really need to get more customers and ambassadors. Like, that's the goal. And I'm like, okay, well, why is that not happening? And it's not happening because you're not posting. Let's say the answer, you're not posting, but you're not posting because you're not really confident that you can help someone be successful. So you're not posting because you're fear of failure. You're fearing that you're going to sign this person up and you're going to fail them. And so that's the fear that's holding you back. Or maybe it's not fear. And maybe you're like, so many of you were like, I'm not signing customers and ambassadors. And then when you really dug in deep and you really got in there good to see what it was that what you were bringing people into, you didn't feel in alignment with. And you were like, I didn't feel comfortable bringing people into this because this is truly how I felt. And so on the surface, it's like, oh, I'm not signing anybody. I'm so frustrated. I'm not signing anybody. But it actually wasn't a fear. It was your soul knew, hey, hang on a second. We're not ready for this. Hang on. Something doesn't feel right. And that's when you can sense that with your intuition. And we've all done it. And some of us are more in tune with our intuition than others, where you're like, something feels off. Or sometimes people are like, oh, something bad's about to happen. I can feel it. Like, you know it and you just can tell. Or you think of someone and then your phone rings and it's them calling you. And you're like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about you. Like, how weird is that? Or you say something and someone like it just happened to them. Or, you know, it's because we have these hunches we have from God and the Holy Spirit. If you are following what he says in his path for your life, and he helps you walk that way. So trusting in yourself to know, is this hesitation for a reason, or do I need to just push through this? And then is it fear holding me back? And what is the fear? And what is the next step? It really is like, what is the next step? If you're in a place, everyone is in this phase where you're like trying to figure out what you need to do next. That's what everyone is always trying to do. What am I going to do next? If your mindset is in a bad place, where you're annoyed and irritated, and you're that person I talked about yesterday in my podcast called Held Hostage that I posted. And I talked about it. You're that person that's like, just feels like any advice anyone gives you, you're not going to listen to it because you're just in a bad mood. You're in a bad place, and that's where you are. If that is currently your reality, you need to pull back from everything, and you need to spend time listening to sermons, listening to books, and listening to God. Stop talking out loud to other people. Stop talking in your head to yourself, and start listening to what things around you are saying and telling you. And so I love setting a timer for 10 minutes, sitting outside with God, closing your eyes, praying and saying, God, what do I need to do next? Lead me to what I need to hear, what I need to know, what I need to listen to. Show it to me, and listen to get yourself in a better place. That is the best shortcut to success that I can tell you, is by forcing yourself to grow faster than what you're originally going to grow through. So listening to books. What is something you're struggling with? You're struggling with fear? Go on Google and find a book about fear. You're struggling with belief? Go on Google and find a book about belief. Or better yet, you're struggling with fear? Go into the Bible and see what God says about fear. You're struggling with self-worth? Go to the Bible and see what God tells you about who you actually are. You're his daughter, you're his sons, and you are worthy, and you are loved, and you are cherished, and you are chosen, and you are adopted by God, because he fought for you and he wanted you. And so look at those things and figure out who you are. Get your mind in a better spot. And then when your mind is in a better place, or maybe you're like, I'm mentally in a good place right now. If that's you, then the next thing that you need to do is, what are the next steps that I need to take in my business? I can tell you right now, you need to offer something for free. You need to offer something for a cheap price, like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. You need to offer something for a couple $100, and you need to offer something for a couple $1,000. This is your goal, is to have at least a 4-tier program of what you're selling and what you're doing. So maybe your super cheap thing, it is a book. You decide to write a book, or an ebook. You write an ebook and you send people the link, or you give them meal plans, or templates for Pinterest posts, or accountability Facebook group, or coaching sessions, group coaching sessions, or whatever it is. There's so many things out there that you can do. And you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do for my cheap thing. Now, so a lot of it isn't like, okay, how do I do this now? It really is figuring out, what is it that you're trying to do? What are those 4 tiers? That's more where your focus is defining that. Like, okay, get a piece of paper and write like free. And then on the other piece of paper, write under $50. And then grab another piece of paper, and on the one side, write $500. And on the other side of it, write $2,000. And brainstorm ideas of what you could do to sell things for money. Now, the under $50, that could be a product. Maybe your company that you're partnered with, or maybe you aren't partnered with one and you need to go find one that fits in with your brand. Maybe they have like this sampler pack that people can get started on. And it's a cup, it's $40. Or maybe it's a journal that you're going to make a journal, and you're going to put some prompts in there, and that's what you're going to sell. Or you're going to make scripture cards, or water bottles, or inspirational art that people can hang in their house. It can be things that you partner with other companies too. And I think that that's what people forget as well. Is like, oh, I have to just do this all on my own. No, you don't. If you are into fitness and nutrition and wellness, you should probably sell some sort of apparel that you recommend and you like when you are working out and doing things. You also should see if you can affiliate like weights or equipment or something like that when you recommend bands and things that you want people to buy, that you can get a commission for recommending that. Maybe there's someone else who has a meal plan that you can work with. You can offer their meal plan and you get a commission from it. I've said before that I have an affiliate program with my branding course, Find Your Freedom, that if you refer someone to me who purchases my Find Your Freedom course, I will give you $100. $100. Literally. And if you want to seriously do this and you're like, I'm going to really tackle this and I want to do this and tell people about Taryn's branding course, then you can message me on Facebook. I can even give you your own promo code where you can say, oh yeah, April has one. You can say, oh yeah, I have a coupon code for $100 off. So use April 100. I don't even know if that's her code, but it's something like that. Use April 100. The customer gets $100 off and April gets $100 in her pocket. So I'm even willing to do that for my stuff. If you feel like learning a brand, you're like, wow, people really need to go through Taryn's branding course to be into my brand or to be able to know what to do next, then do that. Figure out what is out there. And it's cool because now that I'm open to all these different opportunities and I truly am open, I'm truly at a place in my life where I'm like, okay, what do I want to do to make some more money? What do I want to do that fits into my brand that's going to allow me to make more money? Now, when people message me on Instagram, it's super fun because I'm actually really open to it. They're like, would you be open to learning more? Absolutely. Send me the list. Send me your products. Send me your commission. Send me your comp plan. Send me, because I'm open. And so also when you're asking people if they're open, let's say you're in network marketing and you're asking people if they're open to hearing about a business opportunity or they're open to learning how to make money from home or to start their own brand, then when you're asking people that question, remember that there are people out there like me right now that are open. Yeah, tell me what you got. So we're talking to a specific person again. You'll probably get some people that are like, I can't believe she would ask me if I was open. Or you'll get people who say something snarky or block you or say, oh, you probably just followed me to get a sale. Or, you're going to have rejection. You're going to have those naysayers, those people that just live to be miserable. And it's okay because you're not talking to them. It's you being like, oh, hey, you. Hey, come here. And they're like, me? You're like, oh, no, not you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about behind you. Yeah, you, come here. Like, you don't care about what I don't care about your opinions right now. I don't care about if you agree with me or not, or if you want me to message you or not. I'm looking for the person who does. And that kind of confidence comes from knowing who you're looking for. If you don't know who you're looking for, you don't know why you're looking for them, you don't know your 4 tiers, you don't know what you're offering, then you don't have the confidence. So when someone shoots you down or questions what you're doing, you get super defensive and then it deflates you instantly and you go into hiding because then your thoughts of yourself are now projecting from this person's opinions. And you're like, oh my gosh, they right, what am I doing? And then you start believing them and it makes you super small and puts you in your box because you don't know who you are. And someone just put a label on you and said, oh, you're only messaging me for a sale. And then you're like, wait, am I? And then you're like, start questioning everything. So you have to know who you're talking to. That's why that's so important. Laying down that foundation will take some time, but you have to have the clarity. So if your mindset is good, the very next step is getting all of your 4 tiers, or at least your first tier. You don't have to have every single thing completely done and finalized and all of that. Even I don't have that yet. I knew that I wanted to do private coaching and that was going to be my highest tier. I also knew that I was going to offer free coaching, and I knew that I was going to tell everyone my #1 secret to 6 figures as my free thing that they can receive. Here you go. You can get this from me. Send me your email and your phone number and I'll send you my #1 secret to 6 figures in network marketing. I'll shave 3 years off your life by teaching you what I did and showing you how I made 6 figures in network marketing, and then how I was able to brand myself to attract people and to build the stability of it. So many people are 6-figure earners in network marketing and they leave the industry and then they have nothing. where they're like, yeah, I once was making $12,000 a month, but then my team fell apart and another team went to another company, and I don't know, I had a baby, and then it just kind of got crazy. And so now we're just kind of like at home, and Johnny got 2 more jobs, and people go right back to how they were because they never built that thing for themselves. And that's what we're doing. And that's what we're focusing on. So if you just know the smallest piece of, okay, what am I going to offer for free? And then what do I have to do to get this set up? Your call to action on your post, once you're consistently posting, which you should be, you're consistently posting and you know what you're calling to action every time. At the end of the post, if you're trying to lead people to, like for me, if I'm on a campaign where I'm trying to get everyone to book a discovery call with me, which is what I've been doing lately. And so now that's what I'm talking about. At the bottom of my stuff, I'm like, if you think I can add value to your life, book a free 30-minute discovery call with me. Click the link in my bio. And this is what I'm constantly telling people to do because it funnels them into the next step. So don't rely on Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp and all of these platforms to keep you in contact with your audience and to keep you in contact with your customers and the people already connected to your company. You have to have your own way of doing that and building an email list and being able to do that. And honestly, that's why I think a coach is so amazing. That's why I decided that I wanted to coach, is because I don't even know how long it would have taken me to figure all this stuff out if I didn't invest. I invested over $75,000 this year on building my own personal business. And that's a ton of money. That is a lot of money. I did a lot of trainings and courses and paid for people to privately help me and paid for assistance and paid for branding and logo and all of this stuff that I've worked and I've paid and I've invested in and all the things I need to run my business. And I'm so glad I did that, because if I didn't do that, this probably would have taken me at least 5 years. And by the time I even figured it out, everything would have been different by then. And it would have been too late, because in 5 years, things aren't going to be as booming as they are right now. So not only would it have taken me so much longer, but also I wouldn't even have gotten the results that I'm getting, because I'm missing the most important, crucial time window that we have. We don't have time. We don't have time to just wait and see what happens. And, oh, okay, well, I can't figure out Reels right now. So like, we'll just wait and see. I'm sure next year it'll work. This stuff is so crucial that you get it out now and you do what you're supposed to. You're fighting against the time clock. Every day, more people are figuring out Instagram. Every day, more people are figuring out Facebook and Pinterest. Every day, more people are coming out and selling and talking about what you're doing. We don't really have that much time. If you were given this passion inside of you and this dream, and in your soul, you have this thing of like, this is what you're supposed to do. This is who you're supposed to help. This is the value you're supposed to give. Go and do it. God wants you to do it. If you feel it in your soul that this is where you're supposed to go, and you've prayed about it and you feel like God is leading you to do this, then it is done by God. And no door that God opens can be closed by man. We said that yesterday. No door. So stop wavering in your belief of yourself of, is this going to work? Am I good enough? Am I chosen? Should I do this? Is it going to be me? Is it going to be successful? Am I going to be fulfilled? Am I going to be happy? And just start stepping into the place where you need to step into. Because if you say, this is my free category, these are the next 5 things I need to do, then you can start doing them. If you don't have a coach, you're going to have a lot of questions. You're going to have a ton of questions. And so that's why I have decided, and this is another thing, is by me moving along, I've learned things about myself, and I've learned things. My coach taught me to only create things out of a need. So if you throw yourself out there and you start doing the thing, once you realize something that people need, your followers need, then you create it. So for me, I threw myself out there and I offered my branding course, Find Your Freedom. It can be found at mentoringthemasses.com. It's $597. It's a lifetime membership. You get access to watch the videos as many times as you want. There's over 7 hours of videos of every single thing you need to know about why you need a brand, how to make one, how to make a mission statement, who to target, how to target them, pain points, posting, daily activities that you can do that will drive sales. Everything is in there. Okay. It's all in there. But what I noticed is that people couldn't afford $597. Now I've had over 100 and I don't even know, 58 people in my course. So obviously some people can, but I realize that some people also can't. So what is a cheaper way for someone to work with me? And so I've been kind of mulling this around in my head over and over, like, how can someone work with me and not get as much of me because it's my time? You know, you can work with me in a one-on-one private coaching program on a 6-month contract where we're really diving in every other week, and we're on Zoom and they're recorded. And I'm telling you, the greatest thing about one-on-one coaching is like, okay, I want to make an email campaign. How do I do it? What website do I use? How do I make it? What should I say? All of that is what you get when you coach with me, which is really cool. Or you coach really with any kind of good coach that's going to help you. But that's also more expensive than my branding course. And I didn't want to cheapen what I was doing, and I didn't want to discount it. I wanted to be able to still help people, but not one-on-one helping you do literally every single thing. How can I offer something in between? And what I came up with was, I'm going to be starting a Facebook group, and you can pay a subscription to be in it, a yearly subscription. You're in the group. And what it is it's a place where you can ask questions. You can post things. You'll also get extra trainings from me popped up in that group, lives where I talk about different things. We'll also have guest speakers that come in, like for Terry, since you figured out Pinterest and how to do that. I would love for you to be a guest speaker where you're like, this is what I've learned about Pinterest. This is, if you want to get started in your business, this is what I learned. I want it to be a place where anyone who's trying to build a brand online can be a part of this community for not that much money. Let's say $50 a year or $100 a year. And you're in this community and you're here and you're like, okay, wow, now I can ask a question. I can say, hey, where do you guys build your email campaigns on? How do you get started? Did you pick MailChimp or Infusionsoft? And so we can answer your questions and we can help. That is a need. I know people are going to buy that because people need that. I talk to people every day that are like, I'm saving up the money to coach with you, or I'm saving up the money to buy your branding course. And I know that they need me and they want me. They need something smaller to be able to get access to me. And this is how you create that. So if I just sat in my office and was like, I'm not doing anything until all 4 steps are figured out, I never would have figured this out naturally because I wouldn't have realized this is what a need was. But because I just jumped in and got started and was like, whatever, I know what I'm offering for free. This is what I'm going to build and focus on doing, and I'll wait for the rest to come. And then that's what you do. And then that's when you have your email list, where I can put an email list out, or I can put an email out today that says, join my group, brand new group. Here's what you get. This is how much it costs. I can send that to the 189 people that have subscribed to me. And now those people trust me and follow me. And they're like, oh yes, join. I want to be a part of this. And so that's what you do. And then when you release your book, same thing. And when Instagram shuts down, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you don't even need Instagram to communicate with your people. So that's the proof. And that's exactly what we're doing. There's a ton of people posting on Instagram about this right now and saying like, this is why you need an email list. This is why you need your own brand. This is why you need your own thing, because you can't be dependent on these big social platforms, and you can't be dependent on a business or a network marketing company that you're under their umbrella of. You just can't. Thanks so much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed my wake-up call today. There's a few things that I want to mention before I let you go. One is, if you haven't watched my #1 secret to 6 figures in network marketing, head on over to my Instagram, which is @life.minded, and click on the link in my bio. You can find that video there. It is phenomenal. Some of my favorite books, some of the biggest things that have changed my life in that industry. Another thing I wanted to mention is, if you feel like I could add value to your life,
go ahead and click on that link and book on my calendar a 30-minute discovery call. This is completely free and you'll get to know me a little bit better. You can ask me any questions you have, and I can tell you what it would be like working with me one-on-one in a coaching program, or a little bit more about my branding course. My branding course can be found at mentoringthemasses.com. And that is a lifetime guarantee. You get lifetime access. And if at any point you are dissatisfied, you get 100% return on your investment. That's pretty great. And then don't forget to like and follow me over on Instagram and YouTube. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel and set it to have all of the alerts, you will get a notification on your phone every single time I post a new video. Thank you so much. Remember, I believe in you. I love you. Thank you for following me. God bless you.